This is Water Elemental.
And this is Axis, and we are here today to talk about the League of Legends. This is a little show we do. We talk about what's going on in the land of Valorant.
Where all the hip, cool parties are.
Indeed. We've got some new stuff this week. We got a new patch. Bringing about a very fun and interesting champion, Darius. We've got some new sales this week, and some sad news on the lore front. So we got some posts from devs, but let's jump right into it. The first thing that was brought up, we probably all have been seen in some way or another, what has been the rage of the forums, Darius, the Hand of Noxus.
Nerf him! Nerf him!
Darius is a champion we kind of talked about a little bit. We didn't really get to talk about all of his abilities.
Because of the Riot Curse.
Oh, it's so good. But he's a bruiser, AD caster type of champion with
OP.
with an emphasis on stacking cumulative attacks and dealing massive damage with a refreshing CD ult. He's a very interesting champion in the way he plays. He's very confrontational. Very high damage. Lot of damage that'll stick to players if they try to fight him at all. You
don't want to engage him because he's just that OP.
He's sort of like Jax in that regard, but he injects a little bit different in the fact that Darius is one of the most easily kited champions I've ever seen.
He is.
Hey, are you within 500 range? No. Oh.
But as soon as he gets that slow
As soon as he gets
you're
to you,
dead.
As soon as he gets to you, you are dead.
Like, I was sitting there as Brand, it's like, as long as I kept stunning him away, but as soon as he got one stack of that hemorrhage on and that slow, I couldn't go anywhere. It was bad.
And that's the point of his kit, is once he catches on to you, you're not going anywhere until you're dead. And that's, a lot of people are complaining about that. But while his damage is high, I won't argue that it's not high. The drawbacks are, of course, easy to be kited. He has no initiation power, no hard CC, no sustain, and no escape mechanisms. He is the definitive glass cannon. I mean, his best way to get away from someone is to kill them.
How do I get away from the situation?
Just kill them all.
Well, Mr. Axe and I, looks like we got ourselves in another sticky situation.
I mean, a lot of other characters sort of have crummy ways to gap close, but they can also be used to get away, so it's sort of nice. His is just like, I'm gonna pull him towards me. Ah, crap.
How is that supposed to help?
Oh, you wanted help.
There was a Darius on my team today, and I'm sitting there playing, and I'm trying to run away, and instead of him pulling forward, he flashed and pulled them towards me.
He knows what you like.
I'm just like, I'm gonna die! Darius, just pull him away! Flashes right next to me, pull them in, whoop derp! It was bad, but...
No, well, we've seen some really cool things coming with Darius's abilities. His Q, first of all, the little spinning cleave. Very cool concept, doing more damage based on where they are. We've kind of seen this with a couple other abilities, like Pantheon's ult.
It's kind of the way of when you're fighting, you don't want to get too close to them. I know you have the melee thing, but you don't want to like hug models together and stuff. It's kind of saying, hey, if you step back a bit,
it gives you a little bit of a poke range, which is nice, especially since it makes trading in top lane a lot easier. Because it's a decent range.
It is.
But I personally, that's my favorite ability in his kit. Is whooshing. You
like that more than his ult.
I do. I'm a Garen player at heart, and so anything that involves spinning. I mean, Darius, literally, I've fallen in love with him because it's like a different flavor of Garen, and I love Garen so much.
I do like his passive, though, the fact that it gives that bleed. The bleed does deal damage, correct?
A bleed deals tons of damage.
Okay, I was like...
It's absurd how much damage that bleed does.
I was just making sure it's not
You get 5 stacks of that up with, like, 20...
5k damage a hit.
And you toss Ignite on him, you just walk away like, yeah, see you later.
You're sitting there, it's like, in-game, you're sitting there, he does his hemorrhage, they're sitting there with, like, their guts popping out going, no!
Of course, Crippling Strike, he is an AD caster, but Crippling Strike enables him to be competitive, as it were, by allowing him to constantly put out on-hit effects and change his swing timer, give him a massive amount of bonus damage. I mean, it's not a ratio, it's just 200% more damage. Good luck. I mean, it's absurd, it's great. I haven't tried it with Trin Force yet. I'm scared too. But the fact that, you can change how the cooldown works based on how long the fight's going, it really encourages you to stick to your guns, which is what Darius is all about. Apprehend, really cool ability. The fact that Armor Pen is added to it is another neat thing.
It's not just a pull, it gives you a passive.
The pull is very short range, but I wouldn't worry too much about that. I mean, really, it's not a tool to engage. It's more to grab them as they're running away. I usually use it at the wrong time because I'm bad, but it's a nice ability, but it's his only really way of gap closing because you only get your bonus move speed when you have them bleeding. And if they're not coming in range of you, you can't apprehend them. So it makes positioning and move speed very key on him. So there's some really weird builds you gotta do. And of course, the pinnacle of QQ, Noxian Guillotine. Now, this ability, scaling true damage off of his AD, deals more damage based on hemorrhage stacks, and the cooldown refreshes if they die from it, or, little known fact, if they die within 0.5 seconds of the ability hitting. So even if you don't kill them,
if someone kills them,
or if you do your ult and immediately pop a Q and they die, it'll refresh. So this is what everyone's been complaining about, scaling true damage. Well, I've seen a couple of arguments about this. It is a powerful ability, but there are a lot of drawbacks. First of all, obscenely long cooldown. Compared to other bruisers, his ult has a very high cooldown.
Unless you're killing people, that's the gimmick of it.
Yeah. It has pretty pathetic damage if you're not stacking hemorrhage. I mean, at level 1, it's 140 true damage. That's a sad amount of damage.
That's more than a brand dot, or that's more than, a lot of things.
And third, high mana cost. Darius is a pitiful mana pool. Most of his abilities cost 50 to 60 mana per cast. And that's okay, because he only has a mana pool of about 300, 400 around level 6. His ult costs 100 mana.
Whoa!
So it's about a quarter of his mana pool per cast. And if he pops 3 or 4 abilities and then ults, he's pretty much So really this idea of him jumping from person to person to person to person, it's not really viable mana-wise for him. So it's a nice ability. It really helps his kit come together as sort of being that run and kill. But it's not an unstoppable god force. I mean, it's great. You can get cool double kills with it, maybe even triples, but you're going to yourself if you do that. So it's much better as sort of clearing out at the end of the fight or getting that early kill. Not really just going from one person to the next person to the next person, doing 5 at once and pentakilling. I've not seen that happen yet.
The closest we've seen was like 3 on my team.
Oh, yeah, I got 3 once, I remember.
Yeah, that was as close as I got. Don't get me wrong, it's a great thing, and his animation is...
Dude, I've been calling him the Dunk Master. Because literally, he just leaps up and then just slams down. And if you do that like 3 or 4 times in a row, I didn't get to do 4, but I did do 3 and just...
I want a Shaquille O'Neal skin for him now.
Oh, God.
Just get him a mask.
The Dunk Master!
Darius! The Dunk Master.
Flying through the air with a basketball in hand.
Challenge! Alright, we're starting a new thing this week. We are asking, each week we're going to give you guys a challenge, and you guys can put it up on the forums or sending it by email. This week's challenge is your best Photoshop of Darius with a basketball, either in-game model or with his splash art.
Or original creation, if you'd like.
We want to see him as a basketball player.
We'll have more information about that at the end. But Darius builds, I have been going, I usually go cloth and 5 pots, or boots and 3. So far from what I've seen, Doran's items are trash on him because you have no sustain, so you have to have pots or you're gonna get pushed out of your lane. The best thing I do is I usually push for an early Wriggles and then a Heart of Gold. I do this primarily because I've been mirror matching against just tons of Dariuses. Everyone's playing Darius. And so I need that armor, I need that health if I'm going to trade with him. Because that's the thing about Darius is he is a hugely item-dependent champion. The way it works is if he gets fed at all, he becomes an unstoppable god force until late game.
But if he
gets denied in any way, if he gets killed twice, he's out of the game. It's pathetic how quickly he can get shut out of a game. So really, he's hugely reliant on your jungler if you're getting ganked, and he's hugely reliant on your own player skill. So being able to trade off, know when to go in, know when to back off, because Darius is a hard guy to back away from, because he'll just keep following you and keep chipping away at your health, because he's very good at it.
I've been watching a lot of Darius v. Darius up top, and the one that always wins is the one that plays a little bit more strategically. Because you got the new guy, you just picked him up and you smack, going in, blowing all his cooldowns. And then you got the one that's kind of like hiding him, keeping him back and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and that's the one that's going to win.
Yeah, one of the best things you can do as Darius is to fake his spin attack. Because if you can fake it one time and then get the trade, you just won the lane. So trading is very important for him, and being able to identify when he's going to trade and block that, and then getting away from ganks. If you can do that, you'll start getting your awesome kills.
What do you use as far as summer spells on this? Usually we don't ask.
I usually do Ghost and Ignite.
Flash wouldn't be as good with him.
Yeah, because the thing about the Flash, while it would help with his escape issue, I find that if I'm going to die as Darius, I can usually take one person with me, so I don't try and get away. I just go, alright, I'm going to die, I'm going to take you with me. I usually just take Ghost because when I'm getting kited by a ranged carry, I can just Ghost, and then I can just barely get into Apprehend range, and once I do that, I get the kill. So Ghost is better than Flash in my opinion, because if you flash, they will flash. And then you're back where you started. So I think
Ghost will still have the
Ghost,
momentum.
You'll still keep going. Even if they flash, you can still keep going. And Apprehend is longer than Ghost range. So, even if they do flash, you can drag them right back in. But after I do Wriggles and Heart of Gold, I usually go into Mercury Treads. Getting CC'd is the bane of this character's existence. It's very painful, so you want to get Merc Treads. Then I usually get a Phage into a Frozen Mallet, Bloodthirster, and then I sort of pick based on what I need. Sometimes I go move speed, whether that's a Trinity Force or a
Zeal.
Trinity Force, a Zeal, or just Force of Nature. Sometimes I go for more kind of a cheesy build where I get a Madreds, because doing more magic damage with his passive is fun.
Stupid.
It's really fun. I've been trying out Executioner's Calling for that extra bit of dot damage, plus crit and lifesteal.
Why is his bleed magic damage? You think it'd be physical since it's...
You'd think so, but...
Yeah, but I guess when he stabs them, their blood becomes magic and hurts them.
True. Why not? Magic blood.
Well, I can foresee in the future one of the ways to kind of counteract that is, if you're going to counter against the Darius in the first place, you're probably going to be building a lot of armor and a lot of stuff. That should be... The passive should be a part of that armor build. So if you want to kind of stop being killed by Darius...
Well, it's what they sort of did when they started with J4, is they made it so his passive was magic damage percentage of their health. So that way it would... Even if they were countering him in armor, he could still do a little bit of introductory damage to still frighten off people, which I think is important.
Yeah,
but
there were problems with J4 that they had to fix.
Yeah. The interesting thing is Talon also had a bleed effect, and I thought this was going to be similar when I first read about it, where it would give you vision of them as they ran away with the bleeding effect on them. Unfortunately not. But
that is more of...
That would be overpowered.
Yeah. Well, I know where you're going to go.
Execute over the wall.
Slam dunk!
Boom!
Nothing but net.
I see to freeze the pain and hot to melt it away. Thanks, Shaq.
So, what do you give to Kilo, Darius?
I'm gonna give Darius a pretty solid 7. I like him a lot. I personally, if it were my own bias, I'd probably put him at about a 9. But I do recognize he has some flaws. He's a bit of a boring archetype, and he was kind of rushed in terms of lore. I mean, lore-wise, they introduced him in what? One episode before, and they're like, oh yeah, he's the champion now. He is a very generic concept. I mean, your evil, brooding dark type with an axe and, hatred in his eyes. Very generic. But I enjoy that.
Sometimes you just need that generic blank slate character to build on.
And I feel like Noxus kind of needed that. But still, you got that thing there.
Well, you can always build on Urget.
Very easy to be kited. His mana's a little weird. He has no sustain. So he's kind of going to be a little bit low skill cap, unfortunately.
I'm surprised they didn't use Rage or something like that on it.
That's true. But positioning's going to be very key on him, so I see a lot of interesting plays coming out of it. But again, not a very high skill camp champion. Kind of a boring concept. I do like the concept, but it is, like we said, generic. So yeah, solid 7 from me.
I'm going to go 7.5 on this one. He is very well. I really like his kit and stuff, even though I'm not a melee player myself. I can really see him as being a very good top if the people know how to play him and you know how to avoid ganks and you have a really great jungler. He's a great character. His slam dunks are amazing, and I just love the slow he gives on people, which in a team fight and stuff, he picks one target and they're just down for the count. And even though in certain cases I'm going to be fighting against him, it's really hard to escape from him. As being on your team, really nice. And I do like his armor style and stuff. I do like his model. Unfortunately, he does not have a Crimson Lead.
Yeah, they only did one skin for him again, like they did with Varus. There is another skin for him on the database. It's called Norse God Varus, but they... Or not Varus, but...
We're so used to saying it after 4 weeks.
Oh, goodness. But didn't come out with this one. It's a little weird. Not sure what the excuse is for it on this one. We did kind of talk about what they did for Varus, but who knows. Moving on to the patch. We got an interesting patch. Not a ton of changes, but a few bug fixes. The big thing, of course, was the Summoner's Rift remake.
When I first played on Summoner's Rift, I don't know if it was just me, but I felt like the camera was closer to the character model than it was. I don't know if I just wasn't used to the map or something, but I hopped in, and it felt like the towers were closer.
Did you adjust your video settings?
Yes.
What did you change them to?
I set them back to my original settings.
Okay.
Like, I set it back.
Based on what you have set for your video settings, it will change how much you can have on the camera at one time.
Yeah.
So you might cycle between low and high just to see if you can get more.
But I think it was just because the platform looked different and the platform's larger because they got rid of the cart, and then they have that yordle right there. But it's just I started walking around. I'm like, why does everything feel closer? But I didn't have a problem while starting to play. Everything felt right, and
I hate that yordle.
Yeah, luckily he doesn't talk.
Doran, 2012. Will not forget.
All right, everybody. Moment of silence for Dorn. We're all over the place today.
Yes, we are.
But
that was the big thing. We, of course, have the Ashe remake, and we have Athene's Chalice.
Athene's, I haven't actually
seen it. I've seen it on Anivia. It was pretty broken on Anivia. I've seen it on Swain.
I should have put it on Brand.
It was really broken on Swain. I saw a Darius doing it with a really cheesy build. He was one of those guys where he was ulting from person to person. Surprisingly, Athene's Chalice solved all of Darius's mana issues. But it took an item slot from him, so it's like, it's kind of goofy, but,
well, wasn't there a bug with Swain?
There was a bug with Swain, speaking of Swain. He would infinitely, have his crows jump between people.
And the thing was...
He ascended to Tyrant. He became powerful god. That was canon. It was canon, Swain being god.
I had this feeling this week when the patch came out. It's like, I should probably play Swain. I went to go play Swain and it was locked down.
Been disabled. Sorry for the inconvenience.
I was just like, no! My feelings was right. I could have been an asshole!
Ugh. But we have some interesting changes this week as well. We have nerfs to Dr. Mundo and Lulu. They're nerfing Lulu again. They changed Morgana a bit. They reduced her spell vamps. Another nerf there. They buffed Malphite, which was
surprising.
Pretty cool. They changed Cho'Gath. Some people are calling it a buff. Some people are calling it a nerf. They made the knock-up delay a little bit shorter, but they added green and red circles so you can determine which Cho'Gath, friend or foe, is casting it.
Which is nice.
But this is kind of a stealth nerf to that, because before you could kind of trick people, because the Dusty Particles were a low-priority spell effect. And so you could kind of hide it in places like a Nivea's ult, where they wouldn't know they were going to get knocked up. And now it's very apparent where it is. So a lot of people are calling this a nerf, and I understand where they're coming from. Another thing they changed was Fiddlesticks. Fiddlesticks jungle has always been popular, but it kind of falls off a little bit with killing multiple creeps. They just buffed Dark Wind, so it deals 50% more damage to minions and monsters. So you're going to be getting a lot more bang for your buck from Dark Wind when trying to jungle as Fiddles, or just trying to last hit in the lane. So I think that's a good change.
Yeah, I noticed that. I had a jungle Fiddles today, and you could really tell the difference. He was clearing the jungle a lot faster.
Oh yeah, because that's one of the big issues is he can kill things like Golem and Lizard lickety-split. But when it comes to taking down, Wraiths or Wolves, so slow. So I think this is a very good change, and it'll definitely help with his quality of life. And that's really it for the patch this week.
We got a couple of skins.
As far as lame notes, they re-added emote spamming. Yes!
They did?
Yes!
Wait, what?
They changed it back! I'm so excited.
So we can just jump,
yes.
jump.
No, you can't. You can't do the audio spam, but you can do the motion spam.
Oh, I've been able to do that for a while.
No. They took it out. They
really?
didn't. They took it out for everything but dancing, and they added it back for every emote. Now I've been so happy.
I love how
I can do my Garen jig again. That was the worst when I couldn't do. I cried that day. I was like, no!
I always have like the Tarek seizure where he always his stance starts out him closing his arms, so it's just him going,
help me,
Gorilla Tarek.
Hey now, that's racist.
That wasn't racist. He's
he's white now.
Oh my god,
that's terrible.
Wow!
For skins this week, we already kind of mentioned Lord Darius, a very interesting skin. We also got Tyrant Swain, that's a lore skin. Symbolizing,
it's about time he got a skin.
It symbolized his ascension to the High General of Noxus.
Congratulations to that. Everybody give him a round of applause.
Of course, we have Blackthorn Morgana. This comes with entirely new spell effects, just like Swain. Swain also has new spell effects.
I love the wings on the new Morgana. They're vines, and it looks really classy.
Yeah, I heard a friend actually propose an interesting thing. It's Batman skin. So now we have Mr. Freeze, and we have Poison Ivy.
Who would be Batman?
We don't know yet. We're still trying to figure it out.
Would it be... I'd say Talon would be Robin, if that's the case.
Talon might be a good Robin, though. That's funny, though. It's really funny so far.
Pitch your Batman ideas to who should be Batman.
Oh, God. And that's it for new skins. All of them are really good-looking skins. I like the Darius one. I'm holding out for Crimson Elite. I really want to get Crimson Elite Darius. But Blackthorn and Tyrant, awesome-looking skins, new particle effects. Really, really neat.
Riot has been talking about a few changes here. They're going to try to buff Sejuani a bit. She's been on their radar since launch and stuff. They were trying to make her a bit better.
You've been reading over this thread. Sejuani is one of those champions where she's kind of good mid-game. She's kind of good. She deals a moderate amount of damage. She's got good disruption, really good ult, but everything else kind of falls off. She's got no defensive steroid, which is really one of her big issues, and her damage is a little bit lackluster until mid or early game. So they're trying to improve the way she handles, making her have a little bit more survivability, and maybe changing some of the way her damage works so it's a lot more consistent. Because that's one of the big things is you gotta sacrifice one thing or another to deal damage. And with a lot of other champions, you don't have to sacrifice anything to deal damage. So she's one of those champions where you have to trade off a lot just to be viable, and they want to change that.
Yeah, definitely. And you said there was something up with lore?
Yes, they are done with the Journal of Justice. Journal of Justice is officially over. I know we lost it for some months, and then they brought it back and we were all excited, and then they ended it a week later. So it's kind of a drag, but there is a post. They are going to do more for the lore, but it's not going to be in the form of the Journal of Justice. So
I can understand that the whole paper format and stuff, they had kind of...
It's kind of limiting in some ways.
Yeah, so instead they should just have a section...
There is a section for lore.
Just a section in the game where the Journal of Justice used to be. They should just have lore update number blah, and then it should just say story of what's going on with the lore. That should be it. Instead of we have to go through the mail thing, and then we have that part, and then...
Or we could do things like the Season 1 trailer for lore updates. It's never going to happen.
They really need like another animation or something. Just
that
a short
was really
film.
neat.
But nope.
And that's it for official news this week. We have some sales.
Again by Mundo. This time, he has taken over the parking lot.
What do we have from Mundo this week?
We have Galio, Jarvan, and Tryndamere.
All champions with very sort of different roles. Galio's sort of an AP nuker / tank. Very good at mitigating magic damage. Very good sustain. Frightening champion in the right
Auto
hands.
counter to Lux and LeBlanc.
If you're looking for something to maybe startle your opponents and sort of catch people out of left field, Galio's one to try out. J4 was the king of the metagame for years and years and years. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but he's a very strong champion, and he's a really, really nice lore character. If you're looking for something that feels great, supports your team, and has the trollest ult in the game, definitely give him a shot.
Oh, hey, my team's needing some help. What should I do? Ult in and block him off! Hasha!
Tryndamere is a champion that you can pick up if you like to feed on the tears of your enemies. He's a very powerful character put in the right hands. A very weak character, if not. He's got tons of options build-wise. He's frighteningly powerful.
Frighteningly mobile.
His mobility is very high. He's a great jungler. He's a great laner. And if you like to farm and then crit for 1,000, give him a shot. What do we got for skin sales?
We have King Tryndamere.
King Tryndamere is a champion that was released along with promotional Ashe. It's a very nice detailed skin. Not really my favorite Tryndamere skin. I run the Demon Tryndamere. I mean,
Demon Blade Tryndamere.
It was expensive, but it's really cool looking. If you want a skin that kind of breaks away from the traditional Tryndamere skin,
He wears
though,
a shirt.
this is definitely the one for you.
Next up, we have Northern Storm Volibear.
Comrade Bear! If you're looking for something kind of trollish, this is definitely a great skin for that. He's hilarious. He's great to play around with. And Volibear is just a really strong champion right now, so definitely give him a shot.
And then finally, we have Commando Jarvan IV.
I love this skin. He's got pistols on his shoulders. Very nice addition to the Commando team. I already own him. Some of you may have already picked him up with the Commando bundle, but it's just an awesome...
He's M. Bison! With guns on his shoulders. What not to love?
Yes! Yes! It's just a great skin. Buy it.
Now.
And that's it for official news. Again, I don't know if we did that before.
Again.
And we're going to move on to our own section here. Our first question comes from our comments section. This question comes from Mr.12. He says, about a week ago I heard that Riot may actually make a South American server or a Brazilian server. What do you guys think about a possible Brazilian server? And do you think people will choose this server or just stay in North America?
At first, I think a lot of people are going to probably stay on the US servers just because that it's going to be more populated. But hopefully in the long run, it will reduce the foreign users that do not cooperate well with the teammates and stuff and get them to cooperate better on their own servers and stuff like that.
I mean, we all have the joke about, BR, Brazil, or Portugal. I mean, everyone's made that joke. I mean, it's a huge thing, especially on This Is Why We Hate. I love that series. But it's a big thing, and a lot of people probably would enjoy that. I mean, it allows you to group with player groups that are more accustomed to your metagame. I mean, for instance, the Brazilian metagame's a lot different than the US metagame. The European metagame's 10 times different than ours.
That's why it's so interesting to watch when the Europeans and the Americans and the Chinese, like all them play together on those huge tournaments because they each have different metagames, so they don't know what to count.
So I think it would be good, and because it'll enable communication, it'll allow you to play to, the champions you're expecting to play against and the metagame you're expecting to play against, and it'll just reduce frustration and tension when you find out that someone on your team
will not play with you because
and not necessarily not even play with you. They just can't communicate properly. So it's a lack of cohesion, and I think that would definitely be better. As far as people actually switching, I think it'll definitely depend on how the ping is for that server. I mean, if I were in US trying to connect to a European server, and that's the only thing I had access to, if a US server opened up and I got 100 ping improvement, I'd switch to that US server on the spot.
That, and is it going to be a forced transfer, or is it going to be a slow progression into it, is the thing.
Who knows? But I think that'd be interesting, and it would definitely open up possibilities and allow for more cohesive gameplay. Our next question comes from Miginot, a very nice gentleman. He says, if you took two champions and fused them together, who would you pick, and what would the outcome be? Well, I know I would mix Master Yi and Fiora. Because, they're very different champions with interesting play styles that allow for high skill cap play. And the outcome would be just a continuous alpha strike. Just never attackable with 700 bonus AD from clicking one button that just shot between all of their enemy teams.
My choice would be Urgot and Anivia, because there's nothing scarier than a half-man, half-crab, half-bird running around yelling, "Kill me slowly, please!"
And then
icicles shooting out.
And then when you finally kill him, he turns into an egg.
Just like
and then just rebirths. No! I am reborn.
And then like his ultimate is both like ults put together where they trade places, but he drops down the AoE and he has like acid walls and he's just like crying the whole time. His movement's just like, shoot me, quit, start the reactor.
Oh God!
If you want to put in art for that too, I'd love to see the horrible monstrosity.
So after that, we love questions. Please submit any questions you have to the comment section below, or you can shoot them to our email at spazticgaming@gmail.com, or submit them on our forums at spazticgaming.com. There's a forum section above. We love comments and questions, anything about the show, whatever. We usually answer about 2 questions a week, so maybe you'll get lucky and you'll hear our opinion on certain matters.
Like we said before, we would love to see your guys' rendition of Darius as a basketball player. If you guys want to send that in yet.
Master Darius!
We want to kind of start this up every week. Like after the questions, we're going to have kind of a contest for you guys, and we'll display it on next week's episode and stuff like that. So if you guys have any Photoshop skill, let us know. We'll
Not even Photoshop. If you want to make something in MS Paint of Darius leaping through the air with a basketball, this is sort of a fun thing we're doing for summer, just to give you something to do if you're kind of bored.
We also are going to try to start up the Fives League going on in the summer. We'll have a video about that up soon with the rules and kind of how we want things to be set up and kind of an explanation.
Oh, yes, the Axis Cup is starting up again.
No! Shh! It is not the Axis Cup.
Oh.
That was a failure.
Oh.
It's the Axis Pyramid.
Yay!
So yeah, we want to get that involved. We might actually show your games live. We're going to actually try to spectate them and commentate throughout the game and kind of
I do like to judge other people. But hey, you're the paladin after all.
Yeah, I am. So that's it. We also have our Twitter. Keep in touch with us there. It's going to be at Spaztic Gaming. I constantly update that, even though I have no followers, because I still don't get how Twitter works. I'm like an old man. So what is with Twitter? Well, you write what you're doing. That doesn't make sense! Why is no one listening to me? I'm just telling them a story.
You need to make really pretentious posts and get a lot of followers.
Damn straight.
But anyway, that's all we have for this week, guys. This has been Axis.
And Water Elemental.
And we're telling you...
we were so out of it today.
I love ice cold ice.
Chill out.
Shut up!